Welcome back to the Giant series. I'm excited to have this giant and power player hanging with us today, Jalynn Jones, and we're going to introduce her in just a second. I want to take a quick minute because we are on the last week before we start our Giants Masterclass program. I'm going to hold you guys in a 10-day container, really showing you the process of unveiling myself that I went through to go from a woman who would morph into what she thought she needed to be in the world to look successful, diminishing my own power in the presence of other people for the comfort of other people, to full ownership of who I be in the world, from wearing a blue suit and a string of pearls to this. Somebody called me Mr. T the other day. I was like, you want to fight? I pity the fool. Call me what you want to. I wear what I want to wear. To blue hair and all of this fabulousness. But it is the thing that helped me to anchor in my own power. And so I believe that this process is super powerful, and it is the beginning of unveiling and unfolding and coming into self-actualization, because I think that is when you become the beacon to those people that you are meant to serve if you are serving and running a business in a transformational space. So here's the invitation that I want to give you. Giants Masterclass starts on the 27th, which is next week. This is how you get access. You go to bit.ly/Giants Masterclass. You must capitalize the G and the M. But here's what I want to do. Don't go there yet. This week, just like all the other weeks, I want to give 5 scholarships. Okay. Now I want to be clear, because somebody called me the other day and I sent them the information. They were like, can you please give me a scholarship? It's not a 100% scholarship. It's a partial scholarship. So I'm reducing your investment, because I don't believe in giving stuff like that out for free. Where there is transformation that needs to happen, there needs to be skin in the game. And I learned that a long time ago. I have a big heart. Don't get me wrong. I give and give and give out of the abundance of my heart, out of the abundance of my wallet, as much as I possibly can. But what I've learned about transformation is that there must be a commitment, and commitment can equal dollar signs. And oftentimes it does. And so you will have an investment, but instead of paying $777 for the Giants Masterclass, you will only invest $197. Here is how you get access to the Giants Masterclass. Message me, Facebook, Instagram, don't matter. I'll be checking both over the next few days. Once these 5 scholarships are gone, they're gone. There is no more. Message me with the word Giants, not am I the 5th one? Did I get one? We are looking for the word. My team and I were looking for the word Giants. So message me with the word Giants. If you are one of the first 5 people, you will be awarded that scholarship, and we'll give you the instructions for how to claim it and be with us starting next week for a week-long, 10 long days, powerful transformation of you stepping into your full power, taking full ownership of that. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, the class isn't for you. If you're like, I need more explanation, this class is not for you. Those of you who know that you are gigantic in nature and stature, you are an atmosphere shifter when you walk into a room, but somehow you try to kind of pretend like you're not. I want you to always be able to own that safely, to feel safe, to walk in that power and that authority that is you, because that's the thing that's going to call your most ideal clients to you, your highest paying clients to you, and it's how you're going to have the biggest ripple effect in the world. Period. Exclamation point. All right, we're done with that. Jalynn, you ready to chat?
Let's do it.
What's up? Okay, so we're going to talk today, and I told Jalynn I wanted to talk about the journey to 6 figures, because I'm often talking about millions. I'm often talking about 6-figure months, but everybody's not there. And I have clients who are different levels in different programs, Sales School being one of them, which Jalynn is a part of, who are working on their first 6 figures, their next 6 figures, and they're not quite to the point where they can do consistent 6-figure months. And so this conversation is for you. When I met Jalynn, has it been about a year ago now?
Almost 2.
Oh my gosh, it's been almost 2 years. I just remember, I think I got a message from you, and something in my spirit said, reach out to her. I was in my car and I actually called her on Facebook Messenger and had an audio conversation, which I, at the time, was not doing. And I was like, I don't normally do this, but I wanted to hear your voice and talk to you. And I just told her when we were behind the scenes that I know a giant when I see one. Like, I just know something in my spirit lets me know this person is a leader of leaders. This person is meant to do big things in the world, and I can see it and sense it. It's very palpable to me. And so it doesn't matter what the current situation is. I can call it for the moment I see you. And so I remember reaching out to you. We had a quick conversation and then we moved on, and eventually you ended up in sales school. But I want you, before we jump into the conversation, to take a minute. First of all, tell people who you are, what you do in the world. And then I want to talk about this journey of yours from where you were from your 6-figure corporate job, which is where you were when I called you. I think you were actually at work or leaving work that day. I'm not quite sure, but I have a feeling like it's coming to my mind that you were like, I just got off work or something like that, to creating a 6-figure business. So tell people who you are. What do you do in the world?
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have this conversation. So thank you for inviting me to the Giants series and just affirming what I felt like I've always known. I do have a tissue in here. What I've always known, but I just had to get that confirmation. And you were that confirmation, just seeing you every day, working with you in different capacities. So thank you so much for having me. For those of you who are watching, I am Jalynn. I go by Coach Jalynn, and I'm the founder of Black Pretty and Paid University. Yes, Black Pretty and Paid University. Revolutionary women, the greats, hire me to up-level their sales and business mastery. So that's who I am, and I cannot wait to dive into this conversation.
So good. So for all the people who are maybe in a corporate job or just left a corporate job and they're like chomping at the bits, like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And they know that there's something greater for them and bigger on the inside. What do you think is if you could only tell them one thing, what do you think is the one thing that helped you go from making 6 figures in your job to becoming the person who can make a decision to create a business that was at a 6-figure level?
This is good. Decision, which is one of I think it's like if we went to Webster's dictionary and you looked at the word decision, you would be right there pointing at us like, yeah, decision. Like many people in corporate America, and I have no shade against corporate America, actually, someone who works with primarily Black-owned businesses, I actually like to teach that corporate America is not what we're escaping from. It's where we're building a corner, our own revolutionary corner. So it's not about leaving and escaping. It's about deciding to be the corporation. The one word that I would give people, the one thing I would say is you have to make a decision. And that's what I did. When I saw you, I saw someone that made absolute, concise, succinct decisions, and that taught us how to do the same in various ways. But it really was just about me thinking about, I'm 20. I was like, when I met you, I believe I was like 26 years old or so, 27, somewhere around there. And I had already worked 10 years working my way up to a corporate job. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine what it feels like to be 20 years and 30 years in your expertise, and you're just vying for these raises and these promotions and the seat at the table and the recognition. And I decided that I would no longer wait for that. I would no longer wait for that. I had done what I could do in my 10-year career, and I was complete with doing this the long way around.
One of the things I know about Giants, which you are, is we will roll up our sleeves and we are not afraid of work. We're not afraid of hard work. We're not afraid of putting in time and effort. And what I learned very quickly on this well, I didn't learn it quickly. It took me a long time. Let me strike that and reverse it. What I learned in my long 12-year journey is that that's not how it works in entrepreneurship. It's not the harder you work, the more you get. I also found that ease and flow actually works more. And so I just want to ask you about this journey. I know that you probably had a time where you were like, this isn't working and it's not going to work. Or you tasted a small amount of success and then it seemed like things were going nowhere. How do I know this? Because that's most of our journey, right? It's like, okay, it's going to happen, but it's not happening. And we're depending on it, right? So how do you maneuver that? What's your go-to as a giant, right? Because you know there's greatness on the inside of you, yet that greatness is not yet manifesting on the outside. And even though I said the word yet, what I know is that in those moments, you ain't got no yet. You're just like, where is it? How did you maneuver that? What was that like for you? And what were the things that you've done to pull yourself out of that?
Yeah, I see some giants that need to hear this in the comment section as well. I went ahead and shared it to my page. And this is definitely for those people who are, especially millennials, whoever, honestly, this can apply to. But for me, I never had the thought that it wouldn't work. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't see it because I hadn't seen it before. Mm-hmm. And it's like I just felt like someone was holding the secret Krabby Patty formula away from me. And it's like, I feel this. I know it's possible. So you're working hard to just find the secret. And you were in plain sight, you know? So I had to decide to become an expert student of this journey. I had to release the treasure hunt of just trying to dig for more strategy and dig for more solutions and dig to be in this room and that room or whatever. And I just really had to find my example of possibility. Because once you see it, you no longer have a doubt about it being a possibility for you. So I've been in I've made a lot of investments, and I really am thankful for one of my coaches that introduced me to you, Sade Wayadu. And like, as soon as I opened the door to her, I no longer had doubts because I saw over and over and over again, I'm seeing. And although I would be in the room and I would be the one sometimes with the least amount of results, people are doing 6 figures in hours, in days. And I was kind of starting to feel like, am I supposed to be in here?
Same conversation every single person inside of the community has. Doesn't matter what level they're at.
I'm like, yeah, they're really moving at a speed that I haven't found yet within myself. Mm-hmm. But the moment you taught me how to find my speed, that's when everything changed. So being that expert student releases the idea of it not being possible. I don't think about quitting. I don't think about that the answer isn't there. All I think about is who has the answer, who's the possibility, who's the example, and I look towards that person. So.
Listening to you talk has my heart doing like pitter patters and flutters. I'm like, oh, Jalynn, go! I have been watching you, and you have been leading with such power and purpose, and it is textbook. And so one of the things I also know as a giant is we are brilliant. We know stuff. We can do things. We can figure things out. And that's one of the biggest things that keeps us stuck is our know-it-allness. It's our, like, we get into a room and things sound so simple. We're like, I could do that. Let me just go figure it out. And that attitude of not being a forever or perpetual student is one of the biggest tenets that keeps us stuck. And what I've been watching you do beautifully is 2 things. When you can be an incredible student, which you are, then you become an incredible leader. And I was just sharing with you, I was watching some of your posts and looking at how you lead your people. And it's not from a place of like, here's what I want to say today, because I'm so smart, you need to follow what I do. It's from this space of, I've walked this road. I've gotten tripped up for this before. And let me tell you, boo, it's not what you think it is. And it's such a beautiful thing. Tell me about allowing yourself to come to the place where you're able to submit to another leader's leadership.
The first time, this is just the honesty and the transparency. So when I found Shameca, it was a video in Sade. I invested in Sade's programs, and that's how I've just opened this portal. But she was being featured on a 100, I am the type of woman who $100,000 a month series. That series is why I quit my job a year later. But when I saw that series and I looked on the stage that you had, it was a virtual, chat that you had, all women, all different shapes, all different sizes, all different shades, but every single one of them was a $100,000 a month woman. And I never seen that before. So anything that I knew prior to that was out the drain, because I'm like, I didn't even know this existed. So it's just like a new world birthed new possibilities, birthed a new level of knowingness. And I release and reject feeling like I have to know everything, because I've lived in that body for a long time. I've been the go-to. I've been the friend that everybody calls for the answers. Even my mother, and my parents come to me for answers and to be a source. So that's kind of like a badge of honor that we tend to wear, but it is a luxury. And it actually is the first key to unlocking ease, to decide I don't even have to know everything. So when I first saw that live with those women, it led me into your group. After we had our call, it led me into your Facebook group. And inside that Facebook group, there is a series that I watch at least 2 times a year. But and it just increases my income every time I watch it. But the first time I watched it, I played myself. I had my know-it-all hat on. And I'm like, this lady's talking about belief, and she's talking about confidence. And where is the funnels? Where is the money at? Where is the Facebook ads at? Where is all the stuff that everybody is telling me that I need to do what she said that all of these other women do? Yeah. So I had to shut myself up, because after I got to the end of that, and I actually reviewed my actual worth, my achievements, and I extracted all of my greatness out of me with the assignment that you gave us. I was like, this is what it is. So if you are operating in that know-it-all energy, it's actually a minimalist energy.
Come on.
It's a minimalist energy. It is an ease effect to actually release knowing everything and to lean into the stuff that we tend to skip. And that's what I would say to, anyone that is dealing with that, because some of us, it was a survival mode mechanism. I had to know everything at some point. I don't have to know everything now.
So beautiful.
That's a flex.
Beautiful. Not knowing everything is a flex. Did y'all catch that? Not knowing everything is a flex. I ain't got to. I'm good where I am right now. I love that. I spent a good portion of my life in what I call the energy of proving, right? This proving energy. I got to show everybody how good I am. I'm from Mississippi, to show me state. I ain't about that life anymore. I walk in the rooms how I walk in the rooms. It just is what it is. And it feels so good. And it's so expansive and so freeing. So I love that you said that. Not knowing everything is a flex. So I'm going to give you a teaching moment here. If you had to teach 3 things, 3 tips to someone like you who was trapped in the body you were trapped in before, and in the circumstances you were before, right? You worked 10 long years to get to where you were, finally found that 6-figure job, but then there was this, that's not it. And everybody else probably was like, Jalynn, so good. And it felt good. And that was probably a flex in the moment. But on the inside, you knew that you weren't accomplishing anywhere near what you were capable of.
Correct.
When you're talking to that Jalynn or anybody like her, what are 3 tips, golden rules that you would give them that will allow them to begin to create the foundations of a successful business?
The first would be, and these things are going to sound very simple, just being able to sit in them. I'm even sitting in these words as I say them because I'm operating at a totally different level now due to you and just watching you and being immersed in just this learning experience that I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. But the first thing is knowing your worth. not the whole charge your work, because that's a whole nother rabbit hole. And, I think that's something that happens after, we can discuss things like that after we just get to the nitty gritty of knowing our worth.
Yeah.
Once I did the assignment to see like what I was worth to the companies that I work for, it will rattle you. So if you're currently working in a 9-to-5 and you're making $100,000, you're making $250,000, you're making $350,000, typically that's hush money, in my opinion, is what I started to realize it was. Mm-hmm. Because when I looked at the real metrics, not the KPIs they gave me to keep me going, right? To keep me energized as their salesperson, like, how it's like a rabbit chasing a carrot type of key performance indicators. When I actually looked at the numbers, like the revenue, the dollars, how am I bringing in 6 figures a month?
Come on.
And you're paying me 6 figures a year.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I would say is know your worth. Don't run. Just sit in knowing your worth. Get your data before you leave.
Yeah.
Get your data. There are so many executives and people that were at my level that don't know their numbers, that don't know their value, that don't know their worth. And then they come into entrepreneurship and they press the restart button, feeling like everything has to start from this point here.
Yeah. Come on.
And that's not what we do. Me knowing my numbers, me knowing the millions of dollars in sales that I've generated was all that I needed to know to hop into entrepreneurship. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is start looking at the companies you work for as incubators to where you're about to go to. And also make a decision though, so you don't want to just sit somewhere and be there for another 10 years trying to make a decision. Like I said earlier, decisions happen very quickly. So if you make a decision that this is not your final place, even if you're there for another 12 months, your decision will anchor you every single day as you go into work. Now things slide off of you different, because it's not your final place. You're not like just so stuck or feeling like this is the only thing you have, because you know that there is something else you're building on the other side. So I would just recommend, making that powerful decision and then operating each day in that, even if it means you're still at your desk. Everybody isn't designed to just run out. I'm a manifesting generator, so I can run. I can kind of run out and it just will happen because of the way I operate, in terms of my human design. But we have to know ourselves and we have to get familiar with that decision. And then we got to get super familiar with the power of belief. Mm-hmm. And I believe, like many of the people that follow you, like me, we've been believers our entire lives. Mm-hmm. But we've neglected the ability and the tool of believing in ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what I was missing. I've been in church my whole life.
Yeah.
I did not know how to create my own identity outside of church, outside of struggles, outside of hard work, outside of accolades and achievements in a 6-figure salary, which sounds so sexy.
I mean,
until it's not. It sounded sexy to 20-some-year-old me who had about that amount of debt and really just thought that was the meal ticket.
That was the Holy Grail.
Rich when I made 6 figures until I made 6 figures.
And then you still weren't rich.
I still wasn't rich.
Yeah. I think the same is true in business, not just entrepreneurships. Like everybody's trying to get to the first 6 figures. And don't get me wrong, you want to get to the first 6 figures because once you make your first 6 figures, that's when you have the capacity to begin to create 6-figure months. You can collapse time around that. So we want you to get to the first 6 figures. But honey boo, if you're listening to me and you're not at 6 figures yet in your business, that is not the stopping place. That's not the place where you pop your collar. I don't know if you ever played basketball, but I played basketball. If you watched Love and Basketball, when she and then left her hand up in the air and the coach was like, get back on D. When you hit 6 figures and you standing there Like with your follow through, get back on D. We got more work to do. That's the starting place. The game just started.
Yes.
We want to get you there so you have the learning of it in your system, in your knowing, in your DNA. Your brain understands how to create it, and then we go about creating it faster and faster and faster. So I'm with you. It sounds great until you get there, right? And we make it hard.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so simple to get to six figures. And I know this may sound to some people, if you're not there, you're like, you may have been trying this for a long time. You're probably cussing me out on the other side of the screen, the whatever you're listening to, whatever device you're listening to. But the reality of it is, once you do it and you look back, you realize, oh, shoot, that's easy. And then you can do it again and again and again. So I love those. Let me see if I can recap them. So the first one was know your worth. Treat your job, or make a decision to treat your job like a stopover, not the place where you're planted so that things roll off your back. Mm-hmm. And then the third one was about belief, watering yourself in and anchoring yourself in belief, not just in belief that it can be done, because we can be a glass half full kind of society and people, but in belief in yourself, right? Which goes back to knowing your worth, right? Most people step into entrepreneurship, like you said, hitting the restart button. And then they're like, but I don't know anything. I'm like, honey, how did you just forget all the years? Everything that you've put in, you bring that with you. You have value. You have a learned experience. There is so much there. And you have to step in, immersed in that belief in yourself, because certainty is what sells people.
Absolutely.
When you think about this whole entire thing and where you are now, because again, I'm watching you and I can see your people in chat. So this is what's cool to me. This is the first time this has ever happened. And this says a lot about your leadership. Whenever my coach would interview me, my people would be in chat. Go coach, just going off, and he'd just be cracking up laughing. And I'm watching it happen over here. And I'm like, yeah, she's a giant. And here's what I know about giants. You're not afraid to share. You're not afraid to lead. You're not like, oh my gosh, like, because that's contracted, right? That's a lack and contracted capacity. And in watching you lead in such a big way. What's your biggest lesson for yourself now when it comes to being a giant, right? Because one thing I know about giants, we don't always feel safe to be a giant, right? There's something about us that makes other people who may not be that a little uneasy. Right. And so what we do, because we care about people, is we go, okay, I don't want people to be uneasy. So let me do an awkward smile or, it's okay. And then we're not ourselves anymore. Or we just go, I'm just going to go in the room and sit there and I won't say anything because I don't want people to think I'm a know-it-all or whatever the case may be. What's your big tip or your process for really being Jalynn the giant? I like saying that, by the way. It was fun to type it. Being Jalynn the giant 100% of the time, because you are definitely, emphatically a giant.
Thank you. Number one, I do want to just say tip for me. I even told some of my clients this weekend. I went to a mastermind and there was a point I didn't feel comfortable and I just got up. The old Jalynn, being a giant is also being like really anchored in your decisions. Mm-hmm. So I don't sit in discomfort anymore. If I'm uncomfortable, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what anybody's going to say. I get up and I depart because my time is valuable and where I'm taking up space is important. Mm-hmm. So, but honestly, to operate in this energy that I'm operating in today, and I'm so surprised I'm not like, but it's only by God's grace, I'm not like stream of tears, bucket of water on the ground for cry. I'll probably cry after this. But the biggest thing is, this is an honor. Mm. It is an honor to be me. I've never been in a space to be so comfortable to be myself. So that is, as simple as it sounds, I don't put on any airs for anyone, no matter where I am. When I came to your conference the first year I met you, again, another anchoring moment. I feel like all of us, it was like 300 people plus on this Zoom, and seeing you do $1 million in a matter of minutes, in a matter of days. It broke us all down to tears. But when I was in that room, you confirmed for me that a woman that looks like me can do this, and I can be myself. There was nothing that I saw you doing that seemed uncomfortable or extraordinary. It was just you. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that, I said, is this what I have to do? And it's as easy as that sounds. The hardest thing for most people to do and be is themselves.
You're not crying because I'm crying. Stop, Jay.
Like it's so powerful to be in this. I am honored. I'm so honored to be this close to my destiny every day. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's I'm operating in that it's like a now energy.
Yeah.
I just encourage everyone to find the bricks that are weighing you down so we can remove them.
So good.
Because the moment I was able to remove things by being in being in these spaces, it did everything for me. Being so, I don't even remember the question, but so like I said, it's an honor to be me.
I love it.
All the way. And that's what I just want everyone to do.
So beautiful. I think the tears are because I know how hard it was for me to be me.
Yeah.
Every day when people reflect back to me that the fact that I am so me is what draws them to me, or what allows them to allow me to lead them, and what gives them a defining moment of breakthrough for themselves. Like watching you be you is incredible, because I'm pretty sure, just like me, there were some moments where you thought you needed to be something or someone else, right? Mm-hmm. I talked about my blue suits and string of pearls that I used to wear. That was some bull. That was not me. It was what I thought I needed to be successful. It's what success looked like to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to redefine success, and I'm here to create a ripple effect of people who are redefining what success looks like across the board. Yeah. I love it. I want to do one thing. I want to invite people to the Giants Masterclass one more time. And I want to ask you a couple of questions just to wrap up. So I want you to start thinking about it. One, I want you to think of what's the final inspiration or words that you want to say to someone who knows they're a giant, but maybe they've been playing a little smaller for the comfort of other people, not knowing how to be in full ownership of it. They know that they're meant for more, but it's not yet manifested on the outside. What would you say to them? And I also want you to share a little bit about your results. Where did you go? Because we don't always go from 0 to 100. Mm-hmm. And so I want you to talk a little bit about that journey and then end with the inspiration that you have for them. So here's my invitation to all of you that are watching. There is a course that I'm doing. I don't typically do micro courses or mini courses. I've always sold high end. I teach top down selling. My lowest investment program is $7,500. This year, God tapped me on the shoulder and said, you need to teach people this inside work that you do, which is normally reserved just for my highest level program, which is Next Level Authority. Well, now it's Proximity, but let's just call it Next Level Authority, is where I teach this work at. And that investment is $36,000. So I've been pulling pieces out of this, some of the stuff that Jalynn's been talking about this inside work, the peeling off the layers and teaching it publicly and making it a minimal investment. So the Giants Masterclass, which is coming up next week, but I want to make sure that everybody has no excuse for joining this class. So here's what I'm doing today, or this week until they're gone. I'm giving away 5 scholarships to the Giants Masterclass. If you know that you're a giant who's been kind of leashed and you want to be unleashed, right? You've been diminishing your power and you're ready to remove all of those layers and still stand fully in your purpose and your power unapologetically. If what Jalynn said just moved you, or you're like, I just want to be able to get up in a room and not worry about who's bothering me or who it bothers, or if I'm seen, or if somebody's going to judge me for it. I want to say what I want to say. I want to wear what I want to wear. I want to lead how I want to lead. But you haven't been able to figure out how to quite make that happen. You're inspired by Jalynn's blue hair and my blue hair. And you're like, dang, I want to do something like that. But what if I'm judged? I can't have $1 million business with blue hair. Yeah, you can, boo. This is how it works, right? If that's you, the way that you're going to access the scholarship is you have to message me, right? There's no other way to get this. Don't do it in chat because I'm not going to come back and look for those. You want to message me in Facebook Messenger or Instagram. Just simply type the word giants. And then my team and I will send you the instructions for how to secure the scholarship. And we'll do that until the 5 are gone. Once the 5 are gone, we'll let you know if you message us giants that they're gone. But we're doing 5 scholarships and we start next Tuesday. It is a fully recorded program. So if you can't be there live, the recordings will be available and you have lifetime access to them as well. All right, Jalynn, so we're going to come back to you.
Yes. I'm just going to speak to your spirit because sometimes we can't compartmentalize it just yet. And I just want to tell you, you and your spirit to rise. That's it. This year there's some special energy around this year. And I think it's because so many of people like you, Shameca, have went before us, have laid the pavement. It's time for us to like really walk in it. Mm-hmm. And so all of everything you need is here. God did not bring us to this year to have us rescinding on our goals and rescinding on what we know that is designed for us. This is the year that we get those things, but it will require not necessarily hard, gruesome, struggle-filled work, but it will require energetic work that will require you to rise to whatever result you are looking to have. You are capable. And I just want to remind you that in order to be a giant, you have to be around giants to really. So if you're feeling like you're shrinking now, like we have a thing in my community called No Shrink Society. If you feel like you're shrinking, you have to get around people who will no longer allow you to shrink.
Come on.
That's just that. And it really can happen. I'm not here to promise that it's going to happen overnight. I'm not here to promise that it's going to happen in a few weeks. But sis, bro, king, queen, whatever, if you just give this thing your immediate attention, you don't have to worry about the time. And that's something you have taught me, Shameca. It's how to collapse time.
I love it.
So that's the first thing.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you because I always want people to know that they're learning from people who have done what they say they are doing. That's the one thing I can't stand on the internet streets is, summits and people teaching people how to do 6-figure years and saying they can take them to 7 figures. They've never done it, never had a client do it, but they're selling strategies that they learned from someone else and y'all buy it up. We don't do that around here.
Nope.
So I just want to talk about like where you were. So you stepped into entrepreneurship with a bit of a struggle, trying to figure all of these things out. So where did you start? You can share however you want to share. We can share with pricing. You can share, what your average months used to look like to what they look like now. It's completely up. She's laughing. They used to look like air. Whatever you want to share. But I just want people to understand like everything that we said today is a piece of the puzzle to getting there, right? It's not just like, hey, do all this airy fairy stuff. No, it's the stuff that we talked about today that allows you to welcome in the kind of money you want to make and the type of clients you want to create in your life. So I'm gonna stop talking.
Absolutely. Well, this is about to get really ghetto, disclaimer. When I started in entrepreneurship, like many people, especially those of you all who have that heart center and you want to help people, we decided to help other people before we decided to help ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so that led me into a business model that was full of scarcity and full of handouts and full of me begging people to work with me basically and pay me. It didn't matter what the rate was because you're looking at a woman that used to charge as low as $14.99. That's not $1,499. That's $14.99 for the same people that would get $20,000, $30,000, and $40,000 raises from my career coaching and resumes. Mm-hmm. So ghetto, but it was my reality. My reality was overwhelmed. My reality was overworked. My reality was going in the middle of the night after working all day with a computer in my lap, crying tears, writing resumes, coaching people when I felt like I was just dying on the inside, you know, I'm a one-trick pony. That's where I came from. I always knew that business was my heart and that I had something to give the world, and I was giving it to corporate America. But the moment I decided to hop into sales school, to hop into things like Play Big, I'm coming back, to hop into Game On Live, to hop into these master classes, which weren't opportunities that we initially had when I first met you. So I really do encourage people to lean into that. My business went from $0, honestly, because I was about to quit entrepreneurship. I just stopped.
Yeah.
Went from $0 to $100,000 in less than 18 months.
Come on, Jalynn. Hold on. Let me get my pom-pom.
But here's the most amazing thing that I want everyone to lean into. I could have done it much faster if I just believed. That's number one. But there was a very simple thing. It probably took Shameca about 3 minutes to tell me, but it took me months to believe about how to collapse time. When I created my first $100,000 in my business, most of that was created in 1 month. And I say that and have to back into it and really say it happened in a few days. And then I have to back in further and say it actually happened in nearly 24 hours. Mm-hmm. You know, so when you taught me how to, the giants think big, and sometimes we think so big that our own thought swallows us. Yes. And it has us shrink in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. It taught me how to take what was already energetically inside of me and shrink it and make it happen very quickly. So what I had done in 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, I was able to do in a matter of weeks, days, minutes, because I decided to actually go full in with accountability and actually following the strategy. Following your strategies makes me feel so good. I was in the group the other day doing backing it up mentally, because it just feels so good when it works.
Yeah.
No funnels. Now I can tell the real truth. Over $100,000, not a funnel in sight. I have about 628 people on my email list. Womp. They like me though. 87 women in my Facebook group.
Come on.
On average, maybe I get 7 to 10 people on my live streams. But every single week, there's consistently someone behind the scenes tapping me on the shoulder and wanting to work with me. Even right before this call. That's why I don't have it on any sleeves, because I had to throw something on. But yeah, the truth is you've done it for me, Shameca. You've literally changed my life. You've done more for me than just help me make money. Okay. I am who I am in business because of women like you. And I just thank you for going before us in such a powerful way and debunking all of the myths about hustle and bustle. Black women, especially, women in general, I'm not going to even specify. All of us need to understand that operating in online places, especially before you hit your first million, is not about being behind the scenes, building all of your systems and all of your software and all of the funnels and doing 20 challenges and doing 20 launches. It's not sustainable. Getting out there and just doing is how I got here, not by a system or a software or a gimmick. Right. You are no gimmicks. Last year, this is the last thing I'll say because I can go on and on. But last year, used to do a masterclass, and you did this masterclass for several years. And it was like the same masterclass, by the way.
Yeah.
Every single time I watched it, I was like, soaking it up, because it was different every single time, even though it was the same title and sometimes even similar information. Mm-hmm. But the way you show up is a masterclass in itself. So me just being able to be in proximity is the most powerful thing that I've done for my business and for my life. My clients see it. They tell me all the time, Jalynn, you're walking different.
Yeah.
You're talking different. You're like, they're seeing the evolution because of you. So I just thank you so much.
So good.
Yeah, I just thank you.
So thank you for being an open book, because we could have these conversations and we can do pomp and circumstance and we can pretend like we just woke up one day. I woke up like this, 6 figures in my bank account, we could do all of that. But the reality of it is we want you to know what this journey really looks like. So I thank you for being so open. And if what I teach was a personification, you would definitely be it. I am enjoying watching every bit of you. I say all the time, there is a shift that has occurred in every person that I have helped and supported in crossing into 6-figure years and 6-figure months. And that shift is palpable. You can feel it. You can see it. You are the personification of that. And it's beautiful for me to watch. And even listening to you today, that's why I've been moved to tears, because I can see a difference since the last time I've spoken to you.
Oh, yes.
And it's incredible. So thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing your story. Thanks for being an open book. I appreciate you so much. And to you who are watching us, thank you for being here. And we'll see you guys during the Giants Masterclass. Bye. Thank you so much for watching my show, my channel. Here's what I want you to do. If you really love what you've been listening to, I want you to subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. No, really, leave a comment, like right now. I'm not gonna stop talking until you leave a comment. Seriously, leave a comment.